Good evening, students. Today we are going to start our new chapter, statistics. This chapter is very easy, provided you have good understanding or good calculation approach. Means if you are good enough in numerics, like faster calculation, this is very easy. Only you have to substitute the values in the formula. So in this chapter, we will learn about the data, collection of data. The data may be collected in the form of ungrouped data, also called as raw data, or the data may be collected in the grouped form or in interval form. It is called as grouped data. Even the ungrouped data that we have collected during a survey can be converted into the group data. So how to convert it, that we will see. During conversion of an ungrouped data into a group data, we are using some common term in statistics. One is called the class interval that we are defining. Grouping means certain interval. So what is that class interval? For the class interval, we are using the term upper limit and lower limit, and taking the length, that is called the class length or interval length. Another, the midpoint of each class can be calculated. That midpoint of each class is called as the class mark, that we will see. And after knowing this grouping of data, we can calculate the center point of all the given data. Means the entire data you have collected during a survey or entire table. So that is called as the measurement of central tendency. Means we want to know what is the center point of the data, or what is the, and where is the center, means where is the majority by which this entire data can be represented by a single point. That is called measurement of central tendency. Now this central tendency or central point of the data can be given in three ways. One is called as the mean, another is called as the median, and the last one is called as the mode. So there are three ways of expressing this central tendency or center point of a data. Today we will learn about the mean. So what is mean? So data that we can analyze in statistics may be in the form of ungrouped data or in the form of grouped data. If it is in ungrouped data, means data collected as it is, then its mean can be calculated by adding the observations or data, dividing it by number of observations. So the formula number 1 is applicable. But if it is converted into an interval or into a group data, then the three other formula are there. Then we can use for mean as FIXI by total FI, or the assumed mean method, as we assume a mean here. So in that assumed mean, we will correct it by adding summation of FI/DI by FI. So here DI is the deviation from the assumed mean. So A we have assumed as the mean, and D is obtained by taking the individual deviation from the data of this assumed mean. So how we are calculating, that we will see. And the last one is called as the step deviation method, where the deviation itself is divided by the class interval h, and then this mean is calculated by A plus h into summation of FIUI by summation of FI. It is this one. So these are the formula related to mean. Now let us start. What is this statistics? Students, statistics is nothing but it is analysis of data. So if you are given with different data or different survey, then how you can analyze, how you can say your school is declaring that average marks of your class 10th is 72%. What does it mean? Means the class mean marks or the class 10th average marks is 73%. Does it mean all the students are getting 73%? No. It means some of the students are even getting up to 99% and some are getting up to 30% or even 40%. So if we are taking the middle of all this data, that will come to the 73%. That also depends on number of students, whether they are falling in lower range or higher range. If more students are getting more than 80 or 85%, then your average marks may increase to 80%. So whatever the observation or the entire data, that entire data can even be analyzed or told by a single point or the single data. So that single data is representing what? The entire analysis of all the observations or the data. So this analysis is called as statistics. And the individual data that you are taking or your school is taking of individual student, that individual data is called as the raw data or the raw observations. And this collection of data is called as a survey or analysis. So student, this statistics is nothing but it is analysis of data, also called as information, may be collected in grouped form or ungrouped form. So maybe this data may be in ungrouped or grouped form. So what do we mean by this ungrouped data and grouped data? So in this analysis, the purpose is to get the central tendency. Where is the central point? So this analysis is done to get the central tendency. So analysis is to get the central tendency, so that the entire data can be represented by just a single number or by a single point or single observation. Some of them may be lower side, some of them may be at the upper side. So those things. So this single point by which the entire data can be represented is called as the central tendency. Now, this central tendency may be expressed or calculated in three ways. The first one is mean of the data, mean, also called as average of the data. Average of data. This data may be in the grouped form or ungrouped form, that we will see. So very first is the mean. So what is this mean? How this mean is calculated? Everything we have to learn. So mean or average mean the same thing. The second one is called as the median. So median can also be calculated for the group data as well as the ungrouped data, that we will see. And the third one is called as the mode. So mode can also be calculated for the grouped and ungrouped data, that we will also see. There is a relation between mean, median, mode also, that we will see at the end. So this way we are observing a statistics means to find the mean or median or mode. That's simple. So this mean and median and mode can be, means all these three things can be for the group data, can be for either the grouped data, or let us first write the ungrouped data or raw data, grouped data, or maybe for the grouped data. Even the ungrouped data can be converted into the group data. So what is that? Let us first understand that. So how is this data or information for the analysis? So any data that we are collecting for the analysis, that is called as the raw data. So data may be collected as observed in the field, as observed in field. These are the terms which are used. Observe in the field. This is the single term which is used. It simply means the observation done, like collecting your marks. That itself is acting as observation in field. Sometimes it is asked to you people for collecting some data from your nearby village. That is called as the survey. So observation in field or survey. So such a data that you are observing in the field or during the survey for each individual, that kind of data is called as the ungrouped data or raw data. So data may be collected or observed in the field or survey for each individual in the visual, and this data is kept as it is for the analysis, then analyzed as it is. So such a data is called as ungrouped data. Or there is other way of surveying the data or collecting the data, where you are just asked for writing the data or collecting the data in one group way, not to the individual, but individual is falling in which group, that you are just observing and you are writing that this much number is in this group. That is called as the group data. So we will see example. Say marks of each student in class 9th or class 10th that we are observing. So each student, there will be such a number of a student. Example, there are, say, I'm just taking, there is 12 student. They must have some roll number or some name. So if you are taking the roll number 1, then it is getting some marks. Say this examination may be conducted in 50 marks or 100 marks. So for what you are taking some marks, maybe something, let me take as the X1. For the second student, let us take this as x2 for so on. For the 12th student, let us denote it by x12. So just these are the observations. So these are what? Data or observations. So just collecting in this form is called as ungrouped data. Means individual data is written or collected as it is. Later on, it is analyzed for getting their mean or median or mode. So this data or information can be in the form of ungrouped data that I have written here. So what is this ungrouped data? Ungrouped data simply means the data collected for individual and kept for analysis as it is observed during the survey. There is other way of expressing or keeping this data that is called as the group data. Students, this ungrouped data, it is the observation directly taken from the field and written or collected as existing in the field. So it is also called as raw data or raw data. So this way, raw data or ungrouped data simply means for each individual we have certain data. Say for you people, marks that I am writing for each of you is what a raw data for me. From that, I am calculating the average marks and I am saying that my students are getting this much percentage of marks in this test. Okay. So if anyone is asking to me or any parent is asking to me, how much percentage marks your student are getting, I cannot say the marks of the highest person or the highest marks of one student or the lowest marks of other student. Rather, on an average, a teacher say, yes, a student is securing 76%, 80%, like that way. Get it? So that single point is the central tendency. How to get that single point? That can be mean or median or mode. Even the mean can be calculated by different ways if the data are collected in different form. So for ungrouped data, how is the mean? So let me go for that. So students, here we have learned that for ungrouped data, grouped data or n observations are you have taken, means there will be n entry. Okay, so the best thing for identifying ungrouped data is that is for n observations there will be n data. Means for each observation there will be one particular kind of data or n values. So it is like n values. These n values are x1, x2, x3. So n data as the first data is our x1, the second data is our x2, the third data is our x3, the fourth data is our x4. This way there is xn. Example, let us understand this because it is very important. Here we have the n observations. Example, marks of 15 students of a class. The marks of 15 students of a class are, I'm just considering out of 50. So for 15 students, there will be 15 kind of marks. It may be possible that the marks may be repeated. Say one of the student is getting 45, another is getting as, let us take in 190, another as the 75, the another also as the 45, 95, 73, 78, 60, 52, 58, 68, 87. Likewise, for this 15 student means I will have 15 observations. So whether you are writing n observations or n data, it means writing for n data, there will be n values. But how many data are there? That is simple a number. So it is that. So take this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 I have written. So let me take at the 55, 13, then 58, 14, and 66 as the 15. So only these are the 15 data. Are you getting? So in this case, this one is acting as our x1. This is acting as our x2. The 75 is acting as our x3. This is which one? This is the last one. X of 15th I have taken. Okay, student? So you have to understand it carefully that these n observations have n values. So n simple represent how many observations. So right here n represent number of observations or number of data, or this data are in ungrouped form, or number of data. But what are the values of that data? That is other thing that you need to keep in mind. So values of this data are, like here for the 15, we are observing that none of the marks is 15. It is not 1 to 15. So marks is something else. So first student is getting 45. The roll number 1 is getting 45. Roll number 2 is getting 90. It is like that one. So this n is the number of observation you have to keep in mind. And values of this data, it is denoted here in general term as x1, x2, x3, x4, so on. And the last I am taking as the xn. Then the formula for this to get the average, then the mean, or also called as average of these ungrouped data, means these are what? These are like your ungrouped data. Why ungrouped? The term group that we will use later means in interval. Grouping means writing in some interval or in group form. Say this data may be converted into different group. So group of students securing marks from 40 to 60 as one, securing 60 to 80 as the next group, then 80 to 100 as the next group. So converting into the group means converting into interval, but writing the data as it is ungrouped data. So mean for ungrouped data, for ungrouped or raw n data is obtained as, say, it is denoted by x. Over that you have to put a bar and you have to add the value of these n observations. Keep in mind, means what? These x1, x2, x3, whatever these observations are there, these observations need to be added first. x1, x2, x3, going on to how many n observations are there, then that you have to divide it by n itself. Okay, it is this one. There is other way of writing this in short form. A student, the term x1 plus x2 plus x3 up to xn in numerator may be denoted in the symbol form as it is the sum of data. So x is denoting the data. So I am writing this as xi, where I is varying from 1 to n. So this summation indicate it will be sum. Say for I is equals to 1, it will be x1. Then you have to add, this summation itself indicate you have to add the next as x2. Okay? Like this one you have to going on. Say if you are given with the addition of xi for I is equals to 1 to 5, means the 5 observations are there, it's me. So you have to add this plus x3 plus x4 plus x5. So numerator is denoting like this, means the above one, which is in the general term n. So we have written this as summation of I equals to 1 to n xi, and denominator is n itself. This have to be divided. Now keep in mind, this n is sometimes acting as a constant, or this, since it is a number, so this can be written as 1 by n separately, and this may be written in this form. So both mean the same thing. Whether you denote it by the second way, or by this third way, or by this first way, all mean the same thing. Get it? So both are same. This is just alternate way of denoting. So same thing. Just write, rather than writing the bigger sum, it is quickly denoted in the form of summation. Is it okay? So the very first formula that we need to keep in mind is this one. This summation always mean the same kind of thing, continuous sum. It is this one. So this was for the ungrouped data. The mean calculation is obtained by this one. In many a time, we are writing the full form also. So a student, we can write mean or average is equals to, what is the in numerator? Sum of the observations. So this can be written as sum of all the observations. All the observations. And in denominator, what is there? Number of observations. how many observations we have taken. So it is our number of observations. So sometimes it may be written in this way. So everything means the same thing, no difference. Okay, student. So questions are also very easy on this. Let me take one question. So find the mean of all factors of 10. Let us take this simple question. Yes, student. Are we getting? This was asking your MCQs. Find the mean of all factors of 10. What is required is mean. But mean of which one? 10. So first go for writing all factors of 10. So write factors of 10. How to get the factor of 10? Yes, student? Keep in mind here factors of 10 means what we shall take? The prime factor of 10 or all possible factor of 10, what we shall take? So go for factorizing this 10. What we can do? We can write this as 2 as the 5. So by writing this in the prime factor form, it can be 2 into 5. So what we shall take? Only this 2 and 5, only these two factors we shall take, or what are the factors we have to take? It is not talking for the prime factor, student, all factors. So this is one way of factorizing. What are the other? You may write this as 1 into 10 also. You may write this as, what is the other one? 10 into 1 also. So what are the various factors? So the factors that we have to write, therefore, factors of 10 are, means 10 can be divided by whom, student? If this can be divided by 1, 10 times. This 10 can be divided by 2, 5 times. 10 can be divided by 5, 2 times. This 10 can be divided by 10 to get 1 time. So these are this. So whether you write in the factor form, then you can choose it. So one is 2, another 5, another this 10, another 1. So 1 into 10 or 10 into 1 mean the same. The same factor is written in different order. So what are the factors? Factors are 1, 2, 5, and 10. Is there any other factor also? No, any other factor. So very first you have to write all the factors. These are the factors. How many factors are there? Number of factors. How many? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Total 4. So this implies n is like here 4. And you may write here as the x1 as 1, x2 as 2, x3 as 5, x4 as 10. Are you getting? So what do we mean by x1, x2, all these things? So it is like this one. So at your level, do not think only this, some simple data will be given and you have to add it and you have to divide it by the number of data. No, at your level, the question is framed by connecting it with the other chapter of mathematics, like it is done here. Okay, so you should be careful with the previous concepts. You should be able to apply or connect the various concepts. So this way the n we have calculated and x1 to x4 we have calculated. So therefore, I'm writing here itself. Let me clean it. So therefore, the mean can be calculated by adding these observations and dividing it by 4. Therefore, mean of all factors of 10 is equals to what? So, or you may write the formula very first for the mean. So since xi is equals to x1 plus x2 going on to xn by n, by this way whether you write or in summation way you write, you will get the same thing. Here mean of the factors of 10 we are taking. We have x1 as 1, so 1, x2 is like our 2, x3 is like our 5, x4 is like our 10. So only 4 observations are there. So it have to be divided by 4. So this is equals to, add it. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. So it become our 18 by 4. You may write this as 9 by 2 or divide it 4.5. So are you getting? What is the mean of all factors of the 10? It is our 4.5. Here you are observing that some of the data, say what are the data? 1, 2, 5 and 10. So it is quite closer to where 5. 5 it appear to be in middle, but not exactly 5. It's 10 by 2, not exactly 5. It is below the 5. So where is the central tendency? Central tendency is the mean 4.5. So questions are very simple on this formula. You have to do it. Let me take one more question. So whatever the table you are looking, these are for the group data, and directly in a statement wherever the question are asked, they are mostly for the ungrouped data. Let me take one more question. Yes, student, quickly please tell me this. This question was also asked. So mean of 25 observations was found to be 78.4. So we can write here, there are 25 observations. 25 observations. What does it mean? Here you can write n is equals to 25. It is one thing that we are getting. So these observations, but their value will be something like x1, then there will be x2, then there will be x3, then there will be x4. So this must have some values, though we are not knowing exactly. There will be, last will be the x of 25. So what is according to question? According to question, we have x1 plus x2 plus x3, like this one, plus x of 25 divided by the, how much, 25? Its value is 78.4. A student, later on it was found that 96 was misread as 69. Means this 78.4 mean is obtained by taking 96 as 69. So later it was found that 96 was misread as 69. What is the corrected one? May this is the error, or this is the wrong or mistake data. So therefore this mean obtained with this data means this is the mistaken mean. Means among this x1 to x25, one of the data is 69. You can keep like this. You may consider any of these as the 69. Okay. So let me keep the last x25 as 69. You can keep the x1 as the 69. So this implies x1 plus x2, x3 going on. So before this x25, there will be x24. I'm taking here, let x25 as 69. This was the wrong. With this wrong data, the mean obtained was our 78.4. Okay, it is like this one. It means what? X1, so go for simplifying this, x2, x3 to x of 24 plus 69 is equals to 78.4 into of the 24. Okay, or here simply you can get as x1 plus x2 plus x3, whatever these unknown data are there, that I have just collected at one place, is equals to 78.4 into 25 minus of 69. It will come on this side. Take this as equation 1. Okay, so with the wrong data, we have calculated that the sum of the other data, which are the correct one, the value obtained is this one. Okay, now it is said that if you are correcting this 69 by 96, means 96 is, this is the corrected. So for calculating the correct mean, I need to take 96 in place of 69, but the number of observation remain 25. So right, corrected mean, is equals to how much? X1, x2, x3, go on adding x24, but now the last one we are taking the corrected in place of 69, which was here, which was giving the wrong mean. We have to take the correct data 96 and the number of observation remains the same by 24. This value we have to calculate now. Okay, if we are substituting this x1 to x1 plus x2 here in this, we can get the corrected mean. So it's also very easy. So you may substitute or write like this, putting 2 in 1 or 1 in 2 rather. First we have calculated for substituting in the second itself, so that directly we can get the correct mean. So in place of x1 plus x2 plus x24, I am going to substitute how much? It is this one that we have calculated from the wrong one. Though x1 plus x2 plus x24, it is the correct value because the wrong one is subtracted on this side. With this, the wrong mean is taken. So substitute it. It becomes our 78.4 into 25 minus of 69, this value, and last one is our 96 divided by 25. I have not calculated this 78.4 and 25 first to show you that what we are going to get. Okay, so what it become? You may divide this or you may first calculate this. So 78.4 into 25 is already there. You can remove the bracket. So it is like our minus of 69 plus of 96 by 25. Let me do it here. 78.4 into 25 is there. Go for subtracting. Okay. So like it is our bigger number is plus. The smaller number 69 is minus. So it will turn into our plus. So it is our 27 divided by 25. Okay, student. You may multiply the first or numerator, then divide it by 25. You will get the same result. Or even the smarter student is trying to do like this. They are keeping this 0.4. Go for separating this. 25 and 25 will get cancelled. So 27 by 25 will be there. It is like this one. You may keep the answer here itself, or even if you want, let us club this too. So it is our 78.4 plus, go for dividing this. So, or go for multiplying numerator and denominator by 4. Denominator become 100. So you can quickly allocate the decimal. Okay, that way I'm going to do. So 7 4s are 28, 4 2s are 8 to 10. It is like this one. Denominator become 100. So 1.08. It is like this one. Go for adding it. You can get this is 78.48 is the correct mean. What was earlier mean? Earlier mean was 78.4, but the corrected one is 79.48. So this way the correct mean can be calculated. So these such questions are based on ungrouped data. If there is some error that can be corrected, means the mean error can be corrected by applying this formula twice. So these questions are very easy. You have to practice with our book. Now let us go for the second category of data called group data. That is more important. So group data is collected in group form. Collected in grouped or interval form. It is simple like that. Even any of the ungrouped data can be converted into the group data. So you may write ungrouped data can be converted into group data how? By choosing suitable interval for grouping, by choosing suitable interval for grouping. Though this grouping gives slight approximation or slight deviation from the exact value, but still that is reasonably acceptable. So we have to choose the suitable interval for the grouping. So our interest is here. We are given with ungrouped data and that we want to convert into the grouped data. Let us first understand this. Then for this group data, we will do all kind of analysis. So let me take an example. Let marks of, this time I am taking 20 students are, I am taking the marks of 20 students individually. Means the first student is getting how much, second student is getting how much, that way. That I am writing. Means I am taking the ungrouped data. 45, 72, 53, 78, 96, 88, 42, then 52, then 66, then 73, 78, 85, 83, 77, 72, then 98, then 83, 88. We have to take the 20 data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 17 data we have written. So 86, 65, 53. It is like this. Deliberately I have not taken at the 50, 60. Okay, that I will tell you later, just after this. So these are the 20 data that we are taking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wrongly we have written the 21 data. So let us keep only the 20 data. So students, these data, whatever the 20 students that we have collected, these are our raw data or ungrouped data. How to convert into the group? Group simply means you need to first make a group. Group always have some limit, some variation. Going to make a group. So group into interval of 10. That I am taking. So what is the lowest data that here we are observing is the 42. So I can choose 40 to 50 as one group. In this 40 to 50, how many students are getting the marks? So it is 40 to 50. Get it? Keep in mind this 40 to 50, the general consideration or convention is that whatever this lower limit that you have to consider and the upper limit you have to leave it for the next one. If it is overlapping. If it is non-overlapping, then both lower and the upper limit you have to consider. Here 40 to 50. In between this, there are two data. One is 42, another is 45. Any more is there? No, any more is there. So number of data in 40 to 50 is 2. So while converting into the group, how it is going to change? Individual data is not important, rather the number in particular group become important. That makes difference. So here we are writing the number of data in a class. And whatever this interval that we are choosing, this is called as class, or sometimes itself written as the class interval. So whether only interval or class interval mean the same thing. Next, we have to consider 50 to 60. For this, observe 53 is there, then 52 is there, the second number, then only these two are there, so 2 is there. Go for 60 to 70. How many observations or how many students are getting marks between 60 to 70? So here we are observing that 66 is 1, then 65 is the 2, it is also 2. Then 70 to 80. If we are taking this, and 70 to 78, 73, 78, fourth one, 77, fifth one, 72, sixth one, only this much. So total number of students is now 6. Go for 80 to 90. So for 80 to 90, we have 85 first, 83 second, 83 third, 88 fourth, and 86 fifth. So 5 students. Then 90 to 100. We have 96 as 1, 98 as 2. So only 2 students are there. So here we have converted the entire data into different groups, and in that group how much observations are there, this number of data or number of observation is called as the frequency. So in group data we are coming across different terms. One is called as the frequency, means how many data is falling in that particular interval. Interval is there 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, and 90 to 100. In this case, we are getting that the interval is starting with some number, ending with the other. So this starting number is called lower limit, and the ending of this interval is called upper limit. And this difference, upper limit minus lower limit, is called as class interval. So student, different concepts will arise in this section. So class interval. So class interval, it simply means the range of each class. Range of each class. Though this may be uniform or non-uniform, but you have to learn about the uniform only. Range means the variations. So class interval have the limit, or this range is from lower limit to upper limit. But the interesting thing is that for counting the number of elements in that class interval, the upper limit is excluded and it is counted in next one. Okay? So right here we are observing that this 90 is overlapping. 90 is acting as the lower limit for 90 to 100, but upper limit for 80 to 90. Therefore, the general consideration is that upper limit is not counted in where overlapping interval. And it is counted in next interval. That is, what is that? Lower limit is counted. So this statement is written like lower limit is inclusive, means included, and upper limit is exclusive or excluded. Example, we may add few more data in this, or we may change the data here, then we will understand this. A student here, LL means lower limit. Okay, now many a time a student are even missing this. Lower limit. And UL indicates upper limit. These are the limit for different class. Okay, so these are the limits for different class. So different class have different limit value. Like how many class are here? It is the first class, it is the second class, it is the third class, it is the fourth class, it is the fifth class, it is the sixth class. So total 6 classes we have formed here. So there will be 6 upper limit and 6 lower limit. It means. So we have to keep in mind lower limit is inclusive and upper limit is exclusive. This is like a one thing. Another one is called as the class interval or class range. So this class interval or range of class is obtained by upper limit minus lower limit. Example, say class interval for 70 to 80 is how much? So this class interval simply means you have to subtract 70 from this 80. So it is 10-1 is the answer. Okay. So in each case, you can get the class interval. So let me write the class interval in this data itself. So student, how many observation in each class interval? That is called as the frequency. So let us write that part also. number of observations in each class interval. How these observations we have to count if the upper limit, lower limit data is there. So this lower limit to be inclusive, upper limit to be exclusive. Number of observation in each class interval is called what? Frequency of that class. So frequency is for the individual class. Like here, I may denote this by the frequency of the first class, frequency of the second class, frequency of the third class, frequency of the fourth class, so on. Frequency of the fifth class, this is frequency of the sixth class. Okay, student? Here another important thing is that if we are going to add this frequency, what we are going to get? Go for adding. 2 to 4 to 6, 6 12, 5, something is missing a student, it should be 20. 6, 12, and 19 only coming, something we are missing. 1, let me count this data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 88 was missing a student. This 88 we had not counted. So 88 will come in 80 to 90. It is also 6. Make this as 6 a student. Slightly corrected. So it becomes 20. So what we are getting? This n is obtained by adding the frequencies. F1 plus F2 plus F3 going on here, F2, Fn. So this is the another important thing that we have to keep in mind. So total observation is obtained by adding the frequency. So write that. Total observation, total observations means number of observations is equals to sum of individual frequencies. So n is obtained by F1 plus F2 plus F3 going on plus Fn. Sometimes this is also denoted by Fi, I varying from 1 to n. Okay, so this thing also you have to keep in mind. So for the group data, total number of observation is obtained by counting the frequency and adding them. It is one thing. Another small concept for calculating the mean is called as class mark. Students, here we have taken, say for 40 to 50, we have taken the observation as 2, 50 to 60 also 2, 60 to 70 also 2, 70 to 80 also 6, no it is 6, 80 to 90 it is our 6, and 90 to 100 it is our other 2. Student, now the question is that this 2 is the observation or number of students who are getting marks between 40 to 50. Then for calculation, whether we shall take the 40 or 41 or 42 or 43 or 50, which marks we shall take for the getting exact marks or getting mean. Mean will be in the term of marks. Mean will not be the number. It is the number that you are getting. These are the number. But if you want to get the mean, so mean will be something in between this one. So from here you will get the mean data. So for calculating the mean data, which marks shall be taken? Because this 40 to 50 is the marks, range of marks. Mean will give us what? Mean of marks. So for particular interval, which number or which marks shall be taken? For that, we are choosing the representative of each class interval, and it is exactly in middle of that class interval. That representative of each class interval or midpoint of each class interval is called as class mark. So right, it is representative. Representative means what? For entire calculation, wherever the marks is required for analysis of particular interval, we shall take this class marks, not the class interval. Okay? So it is representative of a class interval. Means for each class interval, we can get the class mark. This class mark is mostly denoted by xi. Okay? Because in group data, what is xi? The class mark is taken as xi. And obtained as, we can get xi, and it is calculated as, or it is midpoint of a class interval. Means for each class interval we can get their midpoint. That midpoint is called as class mark for that particular class. It's so simple. How to calculate the midpoint? It's very simple. So therefore, class mark, how to get the midpoint of two number? It is your upper limit plus lower limit, or you may write like this. Start with the lower limit. Lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. It is this one. There is other way of calculating this class mark in the term of class interval. If class interval is given, say if class interval mostly denoted by h, it is calculated by upper limit minus lower limit. This way. Sometimes also denoted as delta h. Okay? So it is this one. Then, how to calculate? So in term of delta h or in term of h, you can get this CM, means class mark. So from here, we can calculate upper limit as h plus lower limit, or the lower limit as upper limit minus of h. These are the two ways of taking upper limit and lower limit from the definition of class interval. Why I am rewriting in this way? Directly the question is asked in your MCQs in the formula form. So class mark need not be given by upper limit plus lower limit by 2. It may be given in other form. In the term of their class interval h, then how this formula get modified, that we want to derive. Therefore, class mark, a student, what is h here? H is our class interval. So whether CI is written or h is written, mean the same thing. So that can be written as lower limit plus upper limit by 2. Main formula is this one, but this can be converted in the term of lower limit and the class interval. So upper limit shall be replaced by h plus lower limit. That I have substituted in place of upper limit by 2. It becomes how much? lower limit and lower limit become twice of lower limit plus h whole divided by 2. Go on dividing it. So it becomes lower limit 2 twice of lower limit by 2 plus h by 2. These two will get cancelled. So this become like lower limit plus h by 2. Okay. So this is the alternate formula for our class mark. So student, class mark can also be obtained by taking the lower limit, then take the class interval, divide it by 2 and add it in the lower limit. Quickly you can get. Mostly we are using this one to calculate the class in mark. That we will do. It is the one way. So whether class mark is upper limit plus lower limit by 2 or class mark is equals to lower limit plus class interval by 2. So here lower limit is outside, not divided by 2. Okay, now means class interval calculate or range you calculate, divide it by 2, then add it to the lower limit. Also, the other way. In place of lower limit, if we have the upper limit and class interval, then how to calculate the class mark? In that case, see, this class mark is our lower limit plus upper limit by 2. This time I am going to replace this lower limit. Okay, student? Here. So lower limit can be written as upper limit minus h. Other one is plus upper limit by 2. I have substituted this one, this term. So here we are getting lower limit and lower limit are the two. So twice of, sorry, upper limit are occurring twice and both are in the positive sign. So twice of upper limit, but here minus h is there by 2. You may write it as twice of upper limit by 2 minus of h by 2. So this can be obtained by cancelling the 2. So upper limit minus h by 2. So class mark can be calculated by this formula. Or we can write this class mark as upper limit if we are choosing. From that we want to calculate. Then I have to subtract the class interval by 2. Means half of the class interval by 2 from the upper limit to get the class mark. So these are the three relations, and in MCQs anything can be asked. So it could be upper limit plus lower limit by 2, or it can be lower limit plus upper limit by 2. Lower limit may be written first and upper limit may be written next by 2. Or this can be the lower limit if written outside, then it is class interval by 2. It gets separated. Or if we have the upper limit known and class interval is known, then class interval by 2 have to be calculated first, then they have to be subtracted. Okay. So these are the possible relations. Where CI, class interval, represent this thing. Okay, student, do not forget this. This is the class interval. So H or CI, please do not forget this. It is this one. Then this CM can be calculated by taking upper limit, lower limit by 2, one formula, or lower limit, in that we need to add the class interval by 2. Okay, this formula. The other one is from upper limit. If we want to calculate, then we need to subtract. Okay, student. So these are the relation between the class mark and class interval. So it was this one. Frequency that we have done. Let me take one question for you. The question is very simple. So convert these ungrouped data, or ungrouped marks of let me take the 20 students into grouped data with interval of 10 and also find class mark for each class or each interval. So I'm going to write the ungrouped data, 20 ungrouped data. Let me take as the 46, 49, 73, 56, 59, 83, 93, 96, 42, then 56, 59, 77, 78, 92, 83 or 88, even 80, even 90, even 70. How many we have taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 we have taken. 2 more we shall take as 83 and 50. So we have to draw it. Okay. Then we will go for how to find the mean for this. Finding mean is quite easier. Once we understand the class mark, finding mean is quite easier. That I will calculate and I will explain in this question. Then I will stop the class. A student, understand this carefully. We need to convert it into these are the ungrouped data which are given. So we have to do the grouping. So the grouping that we are writing is called as the class interval. Observe the lower one. Lower one is our 46. Below this, yeah, 42 is there. So it is better to start with the 42. The interval is given as the 10. So 40 to 50. For this class interval, we will write the number of observation or number of students securing the marks in this particular class interval. So rather than writing their number, we can directly write it as the frequency. The frequency term indicate the number of observation in particular class interval. Or frequency we may calculate later, or we shall write first. Then for each class interval, we need to calculate their class mark. Okay, student, this one. So class interval mostly written as CI or H. Frequency denoted by FI for particular interval, and class mark is denoted by XI. Okay, it is this. So first class we have chosen is 40 to 50. The next will be 50 to 60. The next will be 60 to 70. The next will be 70 to 80. The next will be 80 to 90. The next will be 90 to 100. Student, If one is securing 100 marks, then we shall go for 100 to 110 because upper limit have to be excluded. Now 40 to 50, observe carefully. So for writing this, in class 9th, we were using the tally marks to avoid the error, but here we have to keep in mind 46 as 1, 49 second, then 42 as the third one. Only these three. So there are 3 students getting this. Okay, it is this. Let us first fill the second one now. 50 to 60. Here, a student, keep in mind the 50 is here, but the 50 was here. But this 50 we have not counted because this 50 have to be counted in, right here, have to be counted in interval, which one? 50 to 60. Okay, so that's why this 50 we have not counted. So be careful in this. Now going for 50 to 60. For 50 to 60 we have this 51. 50 as 1. Let us go back. 59 as the second one. 56 as the third one. 59 as the fourth one. 56 as the fifth one. So there are 5 such students. Okay, student. Now go for 60 to 70. 60 to 70. Let us start from the beginning. So no 60 to 70. Is there any 60 to 70 student? Yes, 70. Shall I count this? Yes, student, as 1. 60 to 70 as 1. Can I count the 70? Is it correct?
No, sir.
You should be careful here. So 60 to 70, this 70 have to be counted next. So be careful. So there is no any data, no observation means it is 0. Then we have to go for 70 to 80. For 70 to 80, start from the beginning. 73 as 1. Then 77 as the second. 78 as third. 70 as the fourth. So 4 are there. Then go for 80 to 90. Start from the beginning. 83 as 1. Then 88 as the second. 80 as the third. 83 as the fourth. That is the other fourth. Then go for 90 to 100. Count it. 93 as 1, 96 as second, 90 as the third. So only these 3. Yes, student. Now if you are adding this, it is denoted by Fi. Whether n is equals to Fi or only Fi. Go for adding this. You are getting that 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Only 19 data we have taken. Or still, yeah, student, again 92 is missing. 92 is coming in our 90 to 100. So slightly correct it. It is also 4. We have taken the 20 data. We are observing that summation of Fi is 20. It is 1. So this way, how many observations are there that can be calculated by adding their frequency? One thing is that. Another thing, we are interested to calculate their class mark. Okay, student, Xi. Xi is calculated for each of the class interval. How we can calculate? So for this, there will be a single number. And that calculation I am doing here, it will be 40 plus 50 by 2 you can do. So it become 40 plus 50 is 90 by 2. So it is our 45. It is one thing. Okay? It is like this. Similarly, 50 plus 60 by 2, you will get as 55 for this class. So no need to do this calculation. You can quickly write it by adding this. A student, here, this 50 plus 60 by 2, 50 plus 60 by 2, it is taking a bit longer time adding than calculating it. Better is that you just calculate the interval length, 50 and 60. What is the interval length? So interval length or range we can calculate, class interval or interval length we can write, or better denoted by h. Every time we are getting this as the 10. 70 minus 60 is 10. 80 minus 70 is also 10. 90 minus 80 is 10. 100 minus 90 is also 10. So what you shall do? You shall just take the lower limit. What is this lower limit? 50. So other way of calculation is 50 plus whatever this 10 is there, you have to take that 10 divided by 2. It is easier. So it is our 50 plus 5 is 55. Same as the 55 that we were calculating earlier. Write it. My pen is not able to write. Is equals to 55. Okay, student. There is other way of doing this also. What? Or you may take here as 60, the upper limit as the 60. Then you have to subtract this 10 by 2. 60 minus 5, still you are getting the 55. So there are the three ways of calculating this class mark. Whatever the method you are using, you will get the same result. Getting? So it is the other way of calculation. So it was for this one. Now let us come for this 60 to 70. What is that? Class length is 60 to 70 is 5. So 60 plus 5 is 65. You can write quickly. 70 to 80, in between this is your 75. 80 to 90 is 85. 90 to 100 is 95. It's all. So calculation are even very easy. So these are the value of xi or class interval. Class interval is acting as a representative for that entire class. And this class interval play important role in calculation of mean. Rather than this individual values, we shall take the class mark. So class mark have to be taken. Now how the mean is calculated? Let us recall that formula first. So write formula for the mean of grouped data. Formula for mean or average of grouped data. Student, here we are getting that we have for x1. X1 is what? Like our class mark. So rather than class, we shall just understand for the class mark x1. This x1 is occurring how many times? F1 time. X2 is occurring how many times? F2 time. It is like this one. X3 is occurring how many times? F3 3 times. Okay. So rather than taking the class interval or range, we have to understand this class interval should be replaced by the single number called class mark, and their frequency we are observing. Okay. So this way. So we have to observe their class mark, because the class mark is representative of entire class. Means for x1, means the class interval of 40 to 50, I have f1, means here the 3 student. It is like this. So it is this way. So go on. For xn, there is fn frequency. Then the average x bar is obtained by adding the entire, though the formula is as earlier. So adding the entire observations divided by total number of observations. But in this case, the total number of observation is obtained by how? Adding all the frequency, summation of fi, as we had written earlier, or you may write the total number of observation n is obtained how? As summation of fi, or as f1 plus f2 plus f3 go on plus fn. It is this summation for total number of observation. But what is the value of observation? A student, here x1 is occurring f1 time. So what is the value or the value for this x1 in entire data? Since this x1 is occurring f1 time, so this value that x1 can generate is x1 f1. Means for entire data, the total value that can be obtained is like this one. Similarly, for this one, I shall take the value as x2 f2. So go on doing that. So xn fn. So x1 f1, x2 f2, x3 f3, go on adding to xn fn. That's simple. To write this in the compact form, we are using the summation symbol, but here we are getting it is the product. So xi we can take and frequency I we can take. Means for the first observation, or for basically the first class, there is f1 students or f1 frequency. So x1 f1. Then for the next x2 f2. This way you have to continue up to n time. By summation, denominator can also be represented as varying from 1 to n. This is the other way of writing the thing. So x bar can also be represented by this way. Or sometime 1 by n, if denominator is written as n, so this may be written as 1 by n summation of xi fi, where, so in this case we have to keep in mind where this n have the relation that it is sum of individual frequency. It is this one. So this was the formula that I had written in the beginning for the group data. Now let us apply this for calculating the mean. So student, here we have to keep in mind the data x1 is occurring f1 time, x2 is occurring f2 time, x3 is occurring f3 time, then this formula is applied. And here xi is representing the class mark, because class mark is the representative of that class. So after this, the next column is met. So you will say this calculation is always done in the column form, where different columns are always met. Let me draw that column also. So next column that you have to make is multiplication of xi with the fi. So keep in mind, what is this? 45 have to be multiplied by 3. Then you have to write it here. So 45 multiplied by 3 is how much? 135. The next one is, again you have to multiply this 55 with the 5. Multiply it. 5 5 is 25. Wrong. Let me correct it. 5 5 is 25. Then 5 5 is 25. Plus 2 is 27. So this way we had to calculate. What will be for this third one? It is our, the third one is for this one. It is our 65 student. These two mean the same thing. These two. So for this one, it is our 65 multiplied by 0. It is 0. Good number. Then 75 by 4. Multiply it. 5 4s are 20. 30. Go for the next one. 85 into 4. Again, this 85 and this 4 we are taking. Okay, student? So fi xi we are calculating. Substitute it here or multiply it. Next one is 95 multiplied by 4. Go for multiplying. It is like this. Okay, student. After this, the lastly, what you have to do, you have to calculate this summation. Xi, Fi. It is this one. Like you were adding the frequency here. Now you are adding Xi, Fi. So this way you have to multiply in the column itself or in the table itself. Then you have to substitute in the formula. Go for adding. Here 0, 0, 0. Then 5, 5 is our 0. Is at the unit place. 1 is there. Go for adding. 7, 3, 10, 1, 11, 11, 0, 15, then 8 is our 23. 2 is now there. Go for adding. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2, 5, 3, 8, 3, 11, 3, 14. So it is this much. So this way we have calculated summation of Fi and summation of the Xi Fi. These two are important for us. Therefore, the mean is calculated by just substituting in this one. Or I may calculate the mean here itself. Therefore, mean X bar is calculated by summation of Xi Fi divided by summation of Fi. A student, many a time a variation of I from 1 to n is not required, or even if you are leaving it, that doesn't make any difference in denoting this formula. So it is our 1430 divided by the Fi is our 20. Cancel this 0 and divide it by 20. What you are getting? So 7, then 1.5. What is this 71.5, student? Understand this now. This is our 71.5. Where is the 71.5? Whether it is laying in the frequency table? No, student. Where it is laying? It is laying somewhere in between this. Getting now? So this way, understand carefully that the mean that we are obtaining is for the class interval. So this is the class interval in which the mean is laying. If you are observing that it is closer to the middle one. What are the middle one? The middle one are, you can observe that here is first one class, second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class, total 6 class. So the middle one will be either this class or this class. Now which one class it lies? It depends on the data given, means the marks obtained, the frequency, and here we have observed it is laying in this one. Okay, 70 to 80. So it is 70.5%. So this is the measurement of central tendency. This way the mean is calculated. Okay, so calculations are very easy. So first you have to calculate, you have to make this table. From the class interval, you make the xi. From the xi and fi, calculate xi, fi. You add it, then you put in the formula. So the formula that we have written here is x bar is obtained by summation of xi, fi divided by fi. Even we can leave the variation, and that doesn't make more sense. It is understood that I is varying from 1 to n. Okay, so these are the two formula we have done, and how to solve it, that we have also done it. Now let us stop the class, or let us take one question. Consider the following distribution of daily wage of 50 workers in the factory. Find the mean of the daily wage of the worker of the factory by using the appropriate method. Here you have to choose appropriate method. You can choose it. Or let me take one question and quickly do it. It is asking for the method. There are 3 methods that I had explained in beginning. Which one you shall use, that we will learn tomorrow. So student, if the question is given like this, then you shall quickly write it in the vertical form. So what is that? Number of plants that are being surveyed. So a survey was conducted by a group of students as part of their environment awareness program, in which they collected following data regarding the number of plant in 20 house. You are observing 20 house. Find the mean of plant per house. Okay, student. So write number of plant, number of house. So number of plants. A student, it is given that these plants are observed in each house. Means the number of plant, the plant variation, means the house having plant either from 0 to 2 is taken as one interval. So it is giving us the interval for plants. And how many plants are there? Number of houses. So this number of houses is like our frequency Fi. This is the interval given. So if the plant, we are considering 0 to 2 plant, then there is only one house out of the 20 house surveyed. It was found that it was containing either no plant or one plant or two plant. That was only one house. The next one is 2 to 4 plant, that was considered. Then it was observed 2 house was containing the plant in the range of 2 to 4. The other one is 4 to 6 is our one. Then this 6 to 8 is our 5. Then 8 to 10 is our 6. 10 to 12 is 2. And 12 to 14 is 3. Okay, student. So this way Fi you have calculated. Or better to draw the line also. So summation of Fi, you will add it, you will get the same as the 20, because observation is made for the 20. Go for adding. 1 plus 2 3 plus 1 4 plus 5 9 plus 6 15 plus 2 17 plus 3 20. Yeah, it is coming as the 20. Now from the given class interval, this is the class interval, we need to calculate the class mark, or simply denote it by xi. How this is obtained? It is obtained by 0 plus 2 by 2. Means it is 1. For this class, the class interval, how it is obtained? Either 2 plus 4 by 2, it is 3. Or you may take, the gap is only 2. So 2 plus 1 by 2. Sorry, 2 by 2. That is 2 plus 1 is 3. Here you may calculate like 4 plus the gap is 2 by 2. I have calculated by this way. It is 415. I may calculate from the upper interval. Let me calculate here. 8 minus the gap from 8 to 6 is 2. So that 2 divided by the 2 is for the formula. So it is 7. Next one you will get 9. Next one you will get as 11. Next one you will get as the 30. Okay, student? Even showing calculation is not required. Our interest is just this number 1, 3, 5, this number. Now we have to calculate xi Fi here. Means it is the xi is 1, this one multiplied by the frequency 1. It is our 1. Go for multiplying this 3 with the frequency 2 is our 6. Go for multiplying the 5 with the frequency 1. It is our 5. Go for multiplying this 7, which is xi, because this xi is acting as our representative of this class. So forget the class, deal with the class mark. So 7 multiplied by 5, 35. Go for this 9 multiplied by 6, 54. Go for 11 multiplied by 2 is our 22. Then go for 13 into 3. It is this. Then you have to add this xi Fi. Go for adding this. Student, we can add directly. So 1 plus 6 is 7 plus 5 is our 12 plus 35 is our 47 plus 54, how much? 101 plus 11, sorry, 22, 123, then 123 plus 39, 162. Is it okay? Yes, student. So therefore, the mean or average, what is required here? You have to calculate the mean number of plants per house. Yes, it will come in between this one from 0 to 14 only. Yes, we are getting it. Is equals to summation of xi fi divided by summation of fi. So always write the formula. Writing the formula itself carries marks in statistics. Very important. So x. So this way the mean of the number of plant per house we are calculating. So 162 divided by 20. Go for dividing this. It is like our 81. So 8.1 is the answer. Where is this 8.1 laying, a student? Are you getting? Can it be in the frequency column? No, a student. It is the 8.1, so laying somewhere here. Why this have drifted downward, a student? Not in exactly middle. Yes, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, means 1. I'm counting this one. 1 first interval, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7. Means the middle one is our this one, but we are getting in this one. Why? It is because of this effect of this 6, which is the larger one, and this one, it have drifted downward. Are you getting? Here you are getting in the upper one, the frequency is lower, but here it is the bigger one. So therefore, rather than this, it have drifted downward. Okay? So this way you shall understand the mean lies here. Mean lies in this interval. So this way, mean doesn't always mean the middle one. It can be near to that middle one step above, or even 2 also. So this way, in which interval the mean is laying, that we can allocate. A student, in next class, we will learn how to choose a mean than get the corrected mean. Means we can anticipate the mean will lie either between 6 to 8 or 8 to 10. We may choose any of the interval, and suitably we can apply the formula for getting the exact value. That method is called as assumed mean method. So that assumed mean method is our next one. I think today we cannot do it, otherwise it will become too long. So this was the method of calculation. Student, write down your homework. Please do try all the questions of exercise our 14.1. Try it by this method. Whatever I had explained, that method you please try. So try all the question by this method. Do this one. And our RC book, in this, wherever the simpler question related to the mean, please try it. Mode and median, you have to leave it. See, student, in the question number 5, it was asked, Formula for the median is there, so that we will calculate this. Even for class interval it is asked in that MCQs. I think there will be somewhere. No MCQ is framed there. Relation between mean, median, mode we will learn later. Tally mark is used to find the number of frequency. Which of the following is measure of the central tendency? Yeah, students, see here. Question number 10. Which of the following is measure of the central tendency? To mean, median, and mode, and range. So this range is not the measure of central tendency. Mean, median, mode are the measure of central tendency. Question is asked, not the measure. So C is the correct option. Mode, you have to leave it. Mean of first 10 even number. See question number 8. You will calculate. Mean of the first n natural number, you can calculate. Mean of x, mean. So 1 to 4. 1 to 4. Then 8 and 10. 1 to 4, 8 and 10. 1 to 4, then 8 and 10. This question from our exercise 1 we have to do. Okay, do this MCQs. In addition to this, these are very simple questions. You have to practice a bit more. In exercise 2, question number 1. Nine, 10, 11. 1, 9, 10, 11. Exercise 2, 1, 9, 10, and 11. Please do only this much from our book. Please do not forget to do this, otherwise you will not have a good practice and you may not get good marks. So from exercise 1 you have to do question number 1 to 4, then 8 to 10, 8 and 10, and exercise 2 you have to do these 4 questions. This is our RC book. So only this much are the homework. Okay student, any doubt then please ask, or shall we stop the class? Today still the class have gone too longer. No doubt? All of you have slept? Hello? Yes, I have also posted this homework. So if you have any doubt, then a student may please ask.